96.3 FM, The Source.
It's time for us to learn about our eye care. Oh, I've got a story to share, too, this morning. From Ocala Eye, Zora Harrison is in the studio. She's the Chief Operations Officer. I don't think I've ever actually read this list on the air. Nikki Nix is in the studio. She's the Patient Services Coordinator for Ocala Eye. And Lindsay Weissman is here. She's the Clinical Administrator for Ocala Eye. And so good morning, ladies. How are you?
Good morning.
We are good. How are you?
Good morning.
Who flew in from New York yesterday?
Lindsay and I did.
Yeah? What were you doing up there?
So we were in New York at a huge Vision Expo. So it's I don't even know how many thousands of people and vendors that were there, but it's a huge expo, and it's education and technology, and then obviously the fun part, which is eyeglass frames and lenses.
That's the fun part. Huh?
That's the fun part. But it was really good. We learned a lot while we were there, and actually we're going to just come back and kind of share with our patients some of the things that we learned.
Can you share some of this? I'm wondering if there were any wow moments, like wow.
There was a wow moment for us. One was UV exposure. So we don't really realize until till technology has shown us how much UV affects everything. We know the damage, skin cancer and things like that. But Lindsay and I actually did this test where they take a picture of you. And through this picture, it can show some damaged spots on your skin, but it also shows where and how protected you are. And it was really scary.
Did you do it?
So we did.
How did you fare?
We both did actually well. We're gonna have to be a little bit more
trying to find my photo.
It was pretty bad.
What is on your skin that protects you? You mean artificially?
Well,
makeup?
Obviously they have artificial like SPF, but you can't. The point was you can't put SPF on your eyeballs. And there's countries that show that early prevention as a child, like if a child born today was to protect their eyes, this was kind of shocking to me, from UV 100%. So they never walked outside. Wow. They could potentially prolong diseases in the eye until their 90s. So cataracts and macular degeneration, things that we're accustomed to seeing, yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Because that's how damaging it is. So the worst part was, as consumers, we did not know this. The maximum protection you can buy for your eyeglasses is 380 nanometers of protection, okay? That leaves 20% of the UV rays still penetrating an eyeglass lens or a sunglass lens.
Okay.
So as consumers, we didn't know that. But 20% exposure means you have 20% damage that's happening. I mean, obviously, it's not the same as being out there unprotected. So there was a vendor there. I'm sure all of them are going to follow suit that has now developed a technology that is 400, which is the maximum. It blocks 100% of the UV exposure to the eyelid, skin, anywhere that the glasses cover, and the reflection that glass causes. So that's that delicate skin around your eyes, and they're going to have them in clear glasses. So patients that yes,
wow,
yes, it's super exciting technology, and really was an eye opener to us. The video that they showed us about this exposure that we get on a daily basis and the time lapse effect that has was, I think it was like staggering. I was completely shocked as a consumer.
Because time lapse shows you what did the time?
It showed us the exposure when they did a study on twins. And one that was used SPF and then
but SPF on the eye,
on the skin and like a SPF glasses.
Okay, was it like an experiment?
Yeah,
or
it was
one
research.
child just like
no, it was a research.
Wow.
And I don't remember what age he was. I want to feel like he was in his 20s when they started the research. But anyhow, and then they compared it to the other twin that was like a truck driver that was in a vehicle all day, and the difference in the aging process that the two went through.
Really?
And it was incredible.
It's that truck driver food. That's what does it.
The whole left side of his face was completely different than
from
the right side of the
through
face.
his window.
Yes.
Oh,
It was
really?
just incredible. But the good news as consumers, I can tell you, is that they are doing so much research on ways that we can prevent this damage and awareness. And honestly, in our practice, I feel obligated to get the message out there that you got to start young. You have to start with our children and protecting them. And if they're not, with sunglasses.
You know what? That's interesting. Yeah. In Disney, you always see the little kids with the Mickey glasses.
Yeah. But this is the scary thing. Those glasses that you buy are not protecting your eye.
Oh, wow.
So that was the other thing they showed us. If you go to a supermarket or like a Walgreens or Target and you measure what you're actually getting protection from those glasses, they are completely inferior to what you need. So we actually just bought this technology that we can measure the UV protection in your glasses because we thought, I'm wearing sunglasses, right? But if that sunglass is not protecting you, and see, that's the thing, this technology is not cheap. So you're not going to be able to go and get your over-the-counter sunglasses and get that 400 nanometers, I believe it was, of protection. So that was a scary thing right there to us. That these kids and these parents are thinking, me as a consumer, I think I'm protecting my family, but I'm not because I don't really know the standard in the industry.
So when
that it goes to show you they're just what marketing can do.
Yeah, marketing.
Put blinders on you really to
it's a false understanding.
Security.
Sure. Plus, they look cute, the Mickey glasses.
Exactly. And I'm not picking on Mickey. I'm just saying he was saying you don't know that you think you're doing right. You think you're doing right by protecting yourself, but you're not because the technology that you purchase to really show that protection is not going to be something that you're going to just get off the counter in most cases.
Well, that is something I never knew.
I never knew that
We
either.
did learn something new.
See there?
So does the UV come through the top?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
So one of the things he was saying was the most direct exposure is direct on. Okay, so glasses, the most direct exposure that the lens, the cornea, the retina is going to receive is going to be through the direct exposure from the lens.
Right.
So that's the number one place
So
they're
we don't
going
have to wear
protect.
goggles,
No.
right?
But what they did say is that reflection from the sun that's coming, and it bounces from basically your skin to the back of the lens and then to the lens back into the eye. They have the technology now that protects you from on the surface, the front surface of the lens, and the back surface of the lens. So there's no reflection going on. But obviously, that's why skincare products are so important. And they do make skincare products specific to the skin around our eyes to protect us. So you're really, being more conscious of the ears and the eyelid area, the thinner skin, the lips. I've never thought about protecting my lips.
Does anything reverse the damage?
We didn't learn a whole lot about ways to reverse it. We do know, just based off of our understanding from skincare in general, that the facials that you get, the microderm, it does ablate that skin, and it does at least slow down it.
I was going to say, I don't know that it's ever probably 100% reversible, but we do know that there are things that you can do to help regenerate new clean skin to kind of help what damage you've already.
And actually, we were surprised at the conference. There was a lot of aesthetic booths there, and instead of thinking about aesthetics as I need to look better, this is more approach of I need to protect my skin
myself
and protect. So a completely new field. It almost felt like it should be covered by insurance because you're there, they're telling you all of this about you can do things to now our age, we can do things to really prevent this progression of this damage as we age. And really, as a consumer, I was completely unaware.
That is really, and you're right. When you have children, you say, I don't want you to grow up. And so with this, you say if you started as a child, you could have no problems till 90.
Yeah, they said they're doing
reading glasses at 40?
No,
oh, that's different.
That's different. What they're talking about is the eye diseases that we develop that they are exacerbated by sun. So the sun makes
cataracts is one of them.
Yes.
Is
it's
macular degeneration one of them?
Well, they didn't say specifically macular degeneration. They just said macular changes.
Oh, really?
So they didn't use use the word degeneration because that's just such a broad term. You know, we age, the macula does degenerate, but they're saying that science is proving that protection, if you were to protect your eye from an infant, that is much prolonged. Instead of us seeing those changes in our 50s and 60s and probably even seeing some results in the 70s,
right,
they're saying that protecting you now could make that even longer. So one of the questions that was asked was, okay, so if I have a 70-year-old patient in my chair, you know, what am I supposed to say to them? And basically said, you know, you want to stop it as much as you possibly can. So you don't say, well, you know, the damage is there. You've got to just almost be more aggressive and more attentive to wearing, even men, protection around the eyelid skin, SPF, and sunglasses, and your clear glasses. I mean, honestly, I really never thought about it.
Yeah,
but
really.
The clear glasses being your regular glasses you wear every day in that car. I mean, it was eye-opening when we saw it in the car, how much of that UV is still passing through
the
windshield.
Even though they supposedly have UV protection on them.
Yeah. So it was really, my goal coming back from that conference is to better educate our community on ways that they can protect themselves, because it really is something that you can do. That a year ago, they did not have the technology to protect us the way they do today.
That is fascinating. So.
And that's real evident here, because on the sunny days when it's not like this, children will be walking by. They'll come out from the mall. They'll be in the stroller. The parents will be chatting. Mm-hmm. They come out of the shade, and all of a sudden their hands cover their eyes because the light is so stark from the sun. And it boggles my mind because the parents don't even notice. They don't even notice their kids are going like this or putting their hands on their eyes or anything. And it just, this would be such a great marketing campaign.
It will
to make parents aware of what their children are experiencing when they come from dark to light.
I think a public service campaign also.
Well, in Japan, this was kind of crazy. I wish I could have got my hands on that flyer he showed us. This is so important in Japan that they actually, as a part of the school system, or this is part of their like we would talk about food awareness. Mm-hmm. This is that important to them.
Wow.
So
it should be important to all of us.
Yeah. So we're learning a lot, honestly, by other countries and ways that they have changed and really dived into how they can protect their citizens, and we don't do a great job of it here. You know, one of the guys in my class said, you know, it's funny, you know, we see these actresses and actors promoting things on television, but they're not promoting things that the consumers should really understand and be aware of.
You're doing it.
You know, yeah.
Let's
trying.
Let's spread this video out around and help out the whole world. So, does the Food and Drug Administration have to approve new glasses?
No, and that's one of the things we couldn't believe. So there's a sticker that's on these glasses, but it's the consumer doesn't understand the level that they need to be protected by and what is important. And it's a broad spectrum of UV protection. I can't remember it all, but it was like UVA, UVB, and then some of these sunglasses are just UV protection, but that's not.
So if we're going
it's generic. So I'm going to set up my optical where you can come in and get them tested, and you can see it's very easy to test the glasses. And I was kind of proud because we tested one of our employees that had their glasses made, and they were clear glasses, right, Lindsay?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They were clear glasses, and she was protected 100%. There was no penetration.
Oh, really? So she had the good ones.
Those. Yeah, and that was made in our lab. So, you know, it's just whenever someone asks you, well, what's the difference in me buying a $99 same day pair of glasses and me buying a $300 pair of lenses? That takes 3 to 5 days to make. Well, that's the difference. It really, truly is. And we tested other glasses. They didn't have them on them.
So a question that I'm wondering, if our audience is wondering, because I'm wondering it, if you are up in age already, but don't have any feeling that you have any cataracts, or maybe you've been told they're starting, would those glasses slow it down? Does the sun continue to work on your lenses?
Yeah, they said it did. They did. They said that the awareness of people being more aware, that it would definitely slow down the progression. I mean, there's other factors, obviously, with all disease. But the effects that you have from the sun would definitely be retarded by that. But, if you have a diabetic patient or someone on corticosteroids or something like that, then you're going to have those effects still. But what this is trying to show us is not just our eyes as far as our eye health, but even just the skin, that delicate skin around our eyes and how thin it is. And how you really can make a difference in the aging, and it's just awareness. It's just
that is. I had no idea you were going to bring us something so life-changing.
We didn't even go
right?
to the conference for this. That's what's so funny. We didn't. This was like one of the lectures that we went to first thing. Not the reason why we went, but kind of one of the things that I was like, wow, I didn't know that. We learned a lot of great things, but that was probably one of my favorite things to come back and talk about.
I wanted to tell you a story that was in the news this morning, and just forgive me for turning my head. I thought I had it printed, but maybe I read it off the internet. And it was about a guy who went to England for macular degeneration, and they gave him stem cells, and he got his eyesight back. Have you heard of this?
We have.
Here's the guy right here. This is the guy. He's. Can you read the headline? Macular degeneration.
I've been given my sight back.
Yeah, and basically, I'll just tell you what it says. It says that he. And I was wondering why he had to go to England.
Because, well, first of all, be very careful here in the United States.
With
doing that
stem cell stuff?
Exactly, especially in the eye, because I'm assuming this is a research patient that was done under very specific regulated conditions.
He only had one eye, by the way, not both.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm sure that means most likely he was in a research program.
Okay.
There's promising things that we know about stem cell research, but you're reading one success case. Google the unsuccessful cases of people that have had. I mean, I can't really speak on who we know that has tried this locally, but you really have to be super careful and read and research. When you're a candidate for a drug study or a research study, and those things are done under specific conditions, like in England and other countries, that's different than, let me inject stem cells in your eye.
Yeah, and injecting anything just scares me.
Yeah, so, I think it's a promising thing, and just like all research, it's great, but you can't be bleeding edge or cutting edge. You kind of need to be, let's let that research come to light and understand how and what guidelines are in place for it. And I love success stories. I mean, we do research in our practice, and we have great success stories, that we could share. But, the reason why they typically don't share it right away is that you don't want patients to see something like that and then go to a local clinic that's doing stem cells, that's not doing it through an FDA approval program or a program that's been vetted or a research
So that's
study.
why the FDA is so cautious.
Yeah, they have to be. They absolutely have to be. And though, if you've ever been involved in a drug study, you'll have a different appreciation for what they have to go through to get something to the market. I mean, we're doing a Hydrus drug study in our glaucoma department that is just incredible. I mean,
it's
every
so
time
meticulous.
It is.
So
And
everything from every aspect of it is regulated.
Really?
I mean, specific
And
time,
what is it, Hydrus?
specific.
This is a Hydrus study. This is a glaucoma study. We do several studies.
What is
Let me
Hydrus?
just put that. It's a type of device that
Okay.
they're using in surgery to help control
pressure.
glaucoma. It seems very promising. We love to be a part of the study community. But again, as a study patient, you are protected to a certain degree because, not that you can't have an adverse event, but you're protected. There's regulations in place to make sure you as a patient, the risk is controlled to a certain degree. So I think that I love that he had a success, but I caution people to get on a bandwagon of let me go find the next place that does stem cell because it's not ready yet.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to print this so you can take it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to.
Yeah, because people are anxious if there's something wrong with them and they hear that there are
There's
successes in other countries, they're going to go to that country because sometimes
Right.
the FDA can take 10 years.
Oh, and that's
before
very
they
true.
approve
And you know what? Honestly, I have no problem with that. LASIK was a good example. I mean, people went to Canada for LASIK for years before it was here.
Yes.
But again, there is a process for vetting, and you're taking a calculated risk when you do that. But going to someone in your state, in the United States, that's doing stem cell on patients that has not been researched and approved yet, that's very, very dangerous. And you can have some real adverse effects from that. So as promising as it is, I think it's got its day and time, and I do believe in our lifetime we'll see it. I think we'll see the reversal of this damage.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the first time I ever heard the word macular degeneration, it was the lady that started the Florida Center for the Blind.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know Marilyn?
Yes,
do you know
of course
Marilyn?
I do, yeah.
Yes, and the way we got to know her was Robin and I were reading the newspaper for the blind on cassettes.
Every day.
Every day.
Wow, you guys are awesome.
And
I have to just say that. We were talking about how much you two give back and how inspirational that is for
sweet.
us.
That's sweet. But we used to do it on cassette, and we would drive it over there, and at that time it felt like it was so far out there. And it was the only thing they didn't have in audio. They have books and they have magazines, but the local Star Banner they didn't have. So
That's pretty awesome that you guys did that.
That's awesome.
That program is really awesome. I mean, and one thing I can say by going to these conferences, we learn a lot, but as I just want the world to know that there is so much research that's going on to make us healthier, to make us more preventative. Obviously there's a lot of research like stem cell to reverse. But
Marilyn is blind, right? Mm-hmm. I hadn't seen her in a while, and I saw her. I said, "Hey, Marilyn," she says, "You've gained weight." I said, well, "You're blind. How do you know I've gained weight?"
So here's the thing: we have to be careful when we use the word blind. Blind, a true blind person cannot tell if the lights are on and off.
Yeah.
Okay. Most patients with macular degeneration can still see all
blind.
of this, the peripheral. But the macula is the problem. So the center of their vision,
Do you see
your
her a lot?
face.
Do you see
I don't
her?
know her as a patient. We know her as a part of the Florida for Blind.
Oh, okay,
we do things for them. We help support their events and things.
Send patients there as well.
Send patients, refer patients, because it is devastating when you are told. Although I feel like, as compared to when I first started working at Ocala Eye, we just say that so much less.
We do.
With the drugs and
Well, that's good.
things like that. I mean, if you have dry macular degeneration and you do what the doctor says, you don't smoke, you eat leafy lean vegetables, and you take your green leafy vegetables. I'll say that again.
I'm sorry.
It works. And then you use things like Amsler to say, hey, I need to call my doctor and get in quickly. And those are the things that we just feel like we tell people less.
Zora, you've given us some really good information today. Thank you for sharing.
Sorry, I talked the whole show. But we had a great
The
time.
information is what's important, right?
Yeah.
Zora Harrison, thank you for coming in here. Nikki, Nix, good to see you again.
You too.
And, of course, Lindsay.
Thank you.
How you doing over there? You didn't get to say much?
Just recuperating. It was a rough day.
I did, if I could say really quickly, I just wanted to remind the listeners if they wanted to, Dr. Vish is saying a lecture at the Countryside Presbyterian Church on 200. It's going to be on Sunday, April 22nd at 3 p.m.
Okay, very good. Share this video with people that would be benefiting from the information. I think it's awesome. I think we all need to get glasses that screen filter out the UV.
Absolutely.
UV5, is that what we need?
No, it's broad spectrum UV.
Oh, broad
and 400 nanometers.
Okay. I'll remember that. all right. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Here is your 1-minute news brief from The Source, WOCA. The tail end of a cold front could spawn a line of